guys, welcome back to Anthony's Tennis Hub. My name is Anthony Hirsch. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 men's matches of the year. It can be anywhere from Grand Slams to Masters 1000. I'll go from number 10 to number 1. I'll have timestamps for the number 10 match, number 9 match below. If you want to skip ahead, I'll go a little bit in depth on each one. Hopefully not take too long with each one. Before I reveal my top 5, I'll give my honorable mentions as well. There were so many good matches this year. I looked back on so many matches and researched so many matches. But we'll get into the list. Before I want to get into the list though, just a little bit of news that I felt like mentioning. Murray retweeted my tweet. Andy Murray retweeted my tweet on Twitter. He doesn't tweet very often. It was a big moment for me and this channel. I'll put it on the screen. It meant a lot to me, and just some news for like the account. And thank you, Andy. You're welcome on this show, on this podcast, or another podcast I do, Tennis 360, anytime. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it was a crazy moment for me. And let me know your picks in the comments below as well. Let's get into it. Okay. Number 10 is Jannik Sinner taking on Carlos Alcaraz in Miami. And this was a match between two players that gave us an incredible match on hard courts at the US Open the year before. And it's a rivalry that keeps giving us amazing contests. It's a rivalry between two players that push each other to their absolute limits, to their absolute best, two young players who are showing the world what they're made of every match that they play against each other. And it's two players who need the other person to improve. They have a great friendship off court, and Alcaraz needs a rival like Sinner to really push him to his best. And it's great, I think, for Alcaraz that he sometimes struggles against Jannik. Jannik has a winning head-to-head against Alcaraz. It's 4-3 now. So it's a really good thing for Alcaraz, I think. Alcaraz doesn't like it so much when he doesn't have time to set up his points. I mean, listen, he's an aggressive player, but there's a reason he does so well on clay courts. Firstly, the movement on clay courts. He grew up playing on clay courts a lot of the time. There's multiple other reasons why clay courts suit his game so much. His serve isn't the biggest in the world. There's a lot of reasons this clay court suit his game. But one of those reasons is he likes the time to set up his shots, set up the points, and he doesn't get to do that against big hitting guys. One of those big hitting guys is Jannik, and I think that they both need each other to grow from their weaknesses. And I think that Jannik, on the other hand, he needs a guy like Alcaraz to push him to his creative best. One thing I love about a guy like Alcaraz, I love about a guy like Roger Federer, who's the guy when it came to the tour. That kind of player pushes the rest of the tour into a frenzy. They're inventing new shots. They're being creative. That pushes the tour into a frenzy because every time they go up against this guy, they need to bring out something they've never seen in themselves before as a player. They have to be creative, invent new shots. One thing that people have said about Jannik Sinner's game, he lacks some variety, he lacks some net play. Guess what? When you're playing Alcaraz, you need to bring all of that out. Alcaraz forces every player he plays to play at their creative best. I love the creative side of tennis. Every tennis point is a little bit different. And that's something beautiful about that, you know? And everybody has a different game style. Alcaraz pushes every player he plays to their most entertaining, most creative best. It's a great thing for tennis. He pushes Sinner to play the most variety, the most creative game. Sinner pushes Alcaraz to have to figure out how to be the one stepping in, playing the most aggressive. And when you're playing out a quick game, that brings out some of the best shot making, fast tennis. And that's what Sinner brings. So there's a lot of reasons. I think both also play insane in Miami. In fact, 2 out of the 3 events that Sinner has played in Miami now, he's reached at least the final. Last year at 2022, I actually think he had a very good chance of reaching the final if he didn't get injured against Francisco Cerundolo in the quarterfinals. I believe he retired from down 4-1 against Francisco Cerundolo, after being up on, after saving multiple match points against Carreno Busta, a very long match. The physical side, once again, for Sinner in 2022 particularly, kind of taking its toll. And I think that was a moment where Sinner could have reached a final of Miami all 3 times he played. He played against Ruud. So I think Miami courts really suit the Sinner game. They're not they play pretty quickly for a court, but also he does have time to set up his shots. And very similar thing for Alcaraz. I just think both guys really love the Miami course, and it made for an absolutely incredible match. I mean, you've seen the rally that that everybody has seen, where it's shot to shot. I remember watching a lot on TV. I was jaw on the floor. It's an quintessential Sinner Alcaraz rally, because guess what? These are 2 of the most talented players in the world, no doubt about it. And they're also 2 players that Alcaraz has the talent more. It's more obvious. Sinner's talent is a little bit more under the surface, but listen, Alcaraz can throw the kitchen sink at him and fall on the floor, dive. Sinner has the talent to still figure out a way to win the incredible rally. That's what made it a quintessential Sinner Alcaraz rally. Listen, Sinner isn't the guy who's always hitting between the leg shots. He's not always doing that, but he's so talented and so obvious. Sinner is a very genuine guy, working hard. And listen, I've seen some people say stuff like he's a boring player to watch. His peaks, when he decides to peak, very exciting player to watch. And he peaked here in Miami. Jannik Sinner's first win over world number 1. He gets his revenge over Alcaraz from US Open, from Indian Wells as well the week before, where he had set point against Alcaraz in the first set. An incredible match. Sinner also looked completely out of it in the second set. He was down, it was either on serve or Alcaraz was up a break in the second set, but Sinner was starting to look a little bit injured, a little bit physically out of it. Then he, out of nowhere, just comes back and just starts playing incredible tennis. Alcaraz is actually the one who looks a little bit physically spent to start the third set. And it wasn't always the cleanest match. I mean, their serving was not great. Carlos was making 55% of first serves in, both winning about 66-68% of first serve points, much less on second serve. And the winners to errors, not that great for Carlos. 22 winners, 27 errors. A lot of errors towards the end of the second set when Alcaraz, I think, was up a break, and he was supposed to take the match, but since then, a lot of errors from when he was up a break towards the end of the second set. And like I said, they're very friendly off the court, which I think makes them so competitive on the court even that much more, which is something that I think a lot of people don't quite understand. But the fact that they weren't serving all that well made every game so intense, and that kind of defines, I think, the Sinner-Alcaraz rivalry more than anything, the intensity of it. And it was a great comeback from Jannik Sinner over Alcaraz. And yeah, it set the tone for the rivalry for the year, as Sinner also got the win over Alcaraz in Beijing. And really great match at the start of the year, and just so many fun rallies. I think we're surely gonna get their first final in a big event next year. I'm so excited for it. The Sinner-Alcaraz rivalry is one of the things is the thing I'm most excited about in tennis. I love the rivalry every time they get to play, and I hope we see that next year. Number 9. Number 9 match is Andrei Rublev defeating Alexander Bublik at Wimbledon. This wasn't a final. This wasn't a semifinal. It was a 4th round match. But this match was so tight from start to finish. The scoreline reads 7-5, 6-3, 6-7, 6-7, 6-4 for Andrei Rublev. It was Alexander Bublik attempting a 2-sets-to-love comeback. And in the 4th set, Rublev saved, I believe, 5 set points in that 4th set. It was absolutely marathon. Bublik, sometimes people say, a player who doesn't try enough in matches, but in this match, he was just giving 100%. He was seemingly fulfilling potential that a lot of people were throwing onto him, especially on grass courts, where he had just won a title in Halle as well in that tournament. Grass court tennis really suiting his game, hitting 39 aces in this match. Rublev hit 20, almost 40 aces in the match. He hit, Bublik hit 67 winners throughout this match. He had 62 unforced errors as well. But it was extremely high level from both. 53 winners from Rublev to 21 unforced errors, both winning over 80% of first serve points. Very fun match on grass. Very kind of fun, fast rallies, good shot making, what you're used to seeing on grass. And listen, I mean, it's Rublev who's just constantly hitting hard shot after shot. It's Bublik who can hit like some more crazy shots and trick shots, and you're used to seeing this kind of more chaotic game from Bublik. So that kind of contrasted. But it was Rublev who ran away with not just the shot of the match, for sure, but one of the shots of the year, one of the most memorable shots you might ever see at Wimbledon. That's what John McEnroe said after the match. So what McEnroe said was that Rublev, the second to last point of the match, the shot that gave Rublev match point was one of the most memorable points you might see at Wimbledon. It was an electric shot from Rublev, and the point was unbelievable to watch in real time. It was 30-all at 5-4. Rublev trying to get to break point. Bublik trying to get to break point. Rublev trying to get to match point to get into his first Wimbledon quarterfinal. And Rublev is just making Bublik run all over the court, hitting super hard, corner to corner, how he's used to doing, which is a sign of talent as well, to be able to just hit hard shot after hard shot so consistently, even when pace is coming at you, to be able to generate more and more pace, hit corner to corner. It's a sign of big talent, and this point was what, as Rublev said, the best point of his career. And he was hitting shot to shot. He hit a forehand into the deuce side, which Bublik defended. Then he hit another forehand hard into the opposite corner, into the ad side, which Bublik not only got to, but he hit an extended grunt shot down the line, which looked like everybody thought it was going to be a clean winner. Bublik did an extended grunt, which basically means that he thought he was going to win the point with it. Because it's basically against the rules, right? To grunt while the other player could be hitting the shot. He thought it was going to be a winner. Rublev does an amazing long step into the shot, just jumps no look into the shot, hits a squash shot, and it's a perfect winner. The crowd first reacts in absolute amazement to Bublik's shot, which could have also been not just the shot of the day, but one of the shots of the tournament. But Rublev defends it with a squash shot winner, and even before Bublik could even react to it, it was a clean winner all day. Bublik didn't even have time to react. And even if he somehow thought that Rublev was getting the next shot, it was still an incredibly tough shot for Bublik. Rublev probably would have won the point. That gave Rublev match point. It was an incredible way to end the match, but I was watching the match starting from, I believe, about midway through the third set to the end of the match. And it was an amazing comeback that Bublik was mounting. It was incredibly compelling. Like I said, high level from both. Very tight match all around. And Rublev just showing his talent on display and showing his amazing fight that really defined the year, to be able to win in the end anyway. I'm hoping we see more of that kind of side of Rublev's mentality that we've come to know. Because last year, one of my big notes for Rublev was I hope he improves on the mental side. This year, he came back against Rune, an amazing fight back in the Monte Carlo final. He would save multiple match points in tournaments such as Dubai. He had a great match against Rune, where he came back from a 5-1 deficit in the final set tiebreaker in the Australian Open. His mentality's been really good all year. This was another match that showed it. Hopefully, we see more of that from Andre next year as well. Number 8, I have Jannik Sinner taking on Novak Djokovic at the ATP Finals. This was an incredibly important and good win for tennis. It was a round-robin match. It wasn't the final. In fact, they played in the final, and Djokovic won pretty comfortably with one of the best performances of the year, and one of the best serving performances I've ever seen Djokovic play, if not the best. But something I will say is that even in this match, Djokovic served amazing. Like, it was amazing. Together in this match, they hit 35 aces, which is crazy for a 3-set match between Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic. Not only are they both elite returners, like absolutely top-tier elite returners, they're both not the best servers around. But Jannik was hitting ace after ace, hit 15 aces in the match, and Novak hit 20 aces, which is amazing. I mean, he was winning 79% of first serve points, and he still lost the match. Novak was playing at an incredibly high level, and that's what makes this win so exciting, was that Sinner was able to beat Novak in a very tight, high-level match when Novak was playing very well, which made it doubly exciting later when Jannik Sinner beat Djokovic at the Davis Cup just, I think, 11 days later. So, and then beat him in doubles as well. So, Sinner, that's what makes Sinner's wins over Novak so momentous. If Novak wasn't quite at his best, it would still be equally, or not equally, but it would still be incredibly impressive. But the fact that he did it when Novak was actually playing and serving incredibly well just made it more impressive. And you had so many good moments throughout the match, like at 5-5 in the first set, Novak was up 40-love, Sinner hits a clean winner off the return that just catches the back the line challenge from Djokovic, then comes back in that game, hits I think about 3 or 4 winners, just wins 5 points in a row, and then wins the set 7-5. And then plays an incredible tiebreaker in the third set. Novak is the king of tiebreaks, but Sinner wins the third set. And something else I would say about this match is Novak was scraping through a lot of 3-set matches. He was scraping through so many 3-set matches. He did that against Holger Rune in the previous round. He did it against players like Griekspoor, Rublev, against Rune in Paris as well. I mean, he was scraping through a lot of really close matches, and it was like two players go play a match. Djokovic is always just coming out the victor. It doesn't matter what happens in the match, Djokovic is going to be winning the match. It almost became comical to a point, how many close matches Novak was winning. It seemed like eventually the win streak that Novak put up since Wimbledon, of Cincinnati, US Open, Paris, etc., would have to end eventually, especially when he's playing so many close matches. I think at one point, 6 out of 7 matches that Novak played went to 3 sets. Well, Jannik was the one to do it. He beats Novak. And it is a round-robin match. If this match was a final, it would probably be much higher on the list, but still, really good win for Jannik. It was really, really rewarding as a Jannik Sinner fan to see him do this, because it's like, you see him put in all of the work. You see him struggle physically. You see him losing so many close 5-set matches. So many close matches to top guys. Zverev at Monte Carlo last year. Djokovic at Wimbledon when he was up 2 sets. The all-timer between Alcaraz and Sinner at the US Open. All-timer in my opinion. And then you have the match against Altmaier at the French. You have Tsitsipas at the Australian Open. It's like, it was so rewarding to see Sinner finally be able to cross the line against the top guys and finish off Novak, who's the toughest guy to finish. And then at the Davis Cup, might not be as good of a match as this one. The first 2 sets weren't as close in either direction. I think it was 6-2 for both guys, but that win was probably even more impressive, because not only did he finish against Djokovic, he saved 3 consecutive match points, which had never been done before in Djokovic's entire career. So, some anomaly wins for Novak. Sinner versus Djokovic match is so fun to watch. To see a GOAT taking on a rising youngster, and you can see a lot of similarities between Sinner and Djokovic. I've seen a lot of people say it. I've thought that for a little bit, and it's because Sinner has talked a lot. Listen, even if I'm losing, I want to just be doing the right things, taking the right steps that hopefully for my career as a whole. I might lose the match, but hopefully I'm taking the right steps forward. That's what Djokovic did. He wasn't perfect at the start. He was the underdog all the way, and he figured it out. That's what Sinner's trying to do as well. Great win for Jannik Sinner over Novak Djokovic. And then we get to number 7. This is going to be my surprise pick on the list, but I had no doubt in my mind that I wanted to pick it. This is not a match that features 2 top 10 players, nor players that were ever top 10. In fact, at the time that this match started, I don't know if either player was even in the top 30 in the world. But this is what the match is. Number 7 is John Isner taking on Yibing Wu in Dallas. I did not think in a year of so many good matches I would ever have a John Isner match in my top 7, because you don't usually come to Isner for entertainment. You don't usually come to Isner for entertainment. A lot of people watching, I'm sure, don't even know what this match is. But let me tell you what, Yibing Wu wins 14-12 in the third set. I watched this match from start to finish. It is one of the most unreal matches you can watch. You can compare it to Kasatkina versus Rybakina on the women's side on the WTA. This match never ended. It was unbelievable. The twists and turns. At one point while I was watching the third set tiebreaker, I was literally thinking more than I've ever thought while watching a match. Is this match written by a script writer? Am I watching a movie? Because it was like, you want to see that out of sports. I mean, players just play. You hope that you get good storylines. This was a story. It maximized the most you could have possibly asked for out of this match. Literally, we got it. So first of all, it was amazing level. So let me just put that forward. Isner played one of his best matches. Yibingwu played one of his best matches. 60 winners for Isner to 21 errors. Yibingwu 41 winners to 17 errors. It's a big clash of styles. Yibingwu, a very kind of dynamic player. Isner, not a very dynamic player, but outside of the style of points, which I'm sure Isner doesn't sound very exciting. 79%, 81% first serve points won. Wu played a great match versus Fritz in the semis, but this was way higher than that. Yibingwu was in his first final. Isner was in his 32nd. But this is what makes this match so high. It's not the incredible level. It's not the difference of where they were at this point, where Yibingwu was, I think, outside the top 150 in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what made this match as good as it was. Isner had a championship point in the second set at 5-4. He misses out on it. And then in the third set, the twists and turns just do not stop coming. They traded championship points throughout the tiebreak. Isner had 5 championship points. One of those, he missed an easy forehand volley into the top of the net. And then at one point, Yibingwu got the mini break to serve for the match at 12-11. You're like, surely the match is over. Yibingwu saves 5 match points. This is incredible. Isner breaks back and pushes it 12-12. The twists and turns were unbelievable. You just have to watch. The highlights are on YouTube if you want to see it. This match was unreal. The level was so high, and it was just unbelievable to watch. Yibingwu hit some incredible shots, such as, I believe, at 4-3 in the second set. He hit one of the shots of the year for me, a forehand down the line clean winner out of nowhere on the full defense. And this was the last final of John Isner's career. In this event, John Isner passed the record for most tiebreakers that player played in his career. And this was a match of tiebreakers. This was a match of small margins. And even right after the match ended, I said to myself, This seems like this was a fitting last big match and final for Isner. And it kind of was just that. It was a match of super small margins, and even though Isner did so well and was so mentally strong throughout his career as well, to play so many matches of so many tight margins and to come through so many tiebreakers he was constantly playing. He had, I think, over 60% win percentage in tiebreakers, which is amazing because of how many he played. He was so mentally strong, and he just wasn't quite mentally strong enough here, and Yibingwu showed what he's made of. Hope Yibingwu comes back, and it's hard to really explain if you didn't see it, but 14-12 in the tiebreaker, twist after twist after twist, and Yibingwu delivers an incredible comeback for the ages in a final, and this was an amazing match. Number 6, Sebastian Baez taking on Gael Monfils at the Roland Garros. Some people call this a novelty match. I put this up, people are like, it's the first round, it's Gael Monfils, it's Baez. This shouldn't be in here, and I understand that, and I respect that opinion. For me, this match was absolutely in here, and it's not just because of the comeback as well. It's because both players played sensationally well. And I think people forget about what the level was like in the first 4 sets as well. But all the attention goes on the 5th set. But this was amazing. This was amazing from both players. And in the 3rd set, Monfils was serving at 5-6, love 40. He was down 5-6, love 40. It looked like Baez was absolutely going up 2-1. And it looked like Monfils was pretty much out of it. Monfils delivers an incredible comeback, wins the set in a tiebreaker when he was serving down the barrel. And just amazing comeback. That seemed pretty much impossible. And then we get to the 5th set, and Monfils delivers one of the most unbelievable comebacks I've ever seen. And, of course, you have to separate this match from what the stakes were connected to the tournament to what the match actually, to the greatness of the match, because the greatness of the match doesn't come from how important this match was before the tournament. But when you're talking about the greatness of the match, of course you have to be considering outside of the context of the event, because after Monfils played this match, he withdrew from the tournament before he would have to play Holger Rune in the 2nd round. So for the context of the tournament, this match really didn't mean much at all. For Monfils' career, it could have meant a lot. It could have given him a lot of encouragement moving forward. It was a great match for the tournament as a whole, because there were barely any French players doing very well in this event. And Monfils doing this with the French crowd going absolutely crazy was a highlight for the French players in this tournament. But it was really just a match in its own right that made it as incredible as it was. It made it such a standout. Monfils was down 0-4, 30-40. Double break and another break point for Baez to go up 5-0. 0-4, 30-40. Monfils, 36 years old, against Sebastian Baez, playing incredible clay court tennis. Baez's level doesn't drop even an inch, by the way, in this fifth set, in my opinion. I don't think Baez's level dropped even an inch. He was playing incredible clay court tennis. Sebastian Baez won 3 titles this year to show how good of a player Baez is, especially on clay courts, especially at Roland Garros. And then Monfils goes down another break at 4-5 before coming back, and then he wins the match 7-5. 3 breaks down in that third set, down 0-4, 30-40, and it's the way Monfils did it. It's the energy and the belief that Monfils showed, and it's winner after winner after winner, just throughout that set, just out of nowhere, showing what is quintessentially Gael Monfils, to be hitting amazing shot after amazing shot and coming back on his own terms. And it reminded me a bit of a match that Monfils played against Nishikori in Canada in 2017, because he was down 3-6 in the tiebreaker there, wins it 8-6, an incredible comeback. It looked all in the world like he was finished. It only comes to Gael Monfils to show something this incredible, and it was his reactions with the French crowd as well after. He was looking completely hobbled over. He was joking around with the crowd. It was complete chaos. It was amazing, and it just shows when somebody has this much fight, this much talent, you can't count the guy out. It's so good to see him back. And what a match it was to really, I think, define the career of Gael Monfils, despite it being a first-round match. And I knew I had to include it. It was a fantastic match to watch in its own right, and one of the best comebacks of the year, no doubt about it. So shout out to this match. Before I reveal my top 5, I'm gonna rattle off a few honorable mentions that I have for the men's list. I had Sinner taking on Altmaier at Roland Garros, which I think would get to a lot of other top 10 lists. For me, this suffers partially from what I call Roddick-Federer 09 syndrome, which is that Sinner's match point came down to an incredibly nervy shot and then a net cord from Altmaier, which, although Altmaier showed incredible fight throughout the match to win it, and it was a really, really good 5 sets, I felt like it was partially Sinner's shot selection that kind of let Altmaier back into the match as well. And partially why I call it Roddick-Federer 09 syndrome is that in the second set tiebreaker at that Wimbledon final in 2009, Roddick had a easy backhand volley winner that he completely missed, which should have made him go up 2-0. And it's just one of these kind of shot selection moments and kind of nervy shots that slightly defines a match and it slightly subtracts points. For me, also it was a second round match, but this match was absolutely incredible. I perfectly respect if it is on top 10 lists. And it's an incredible win for Daniel Altmaier at Roland Garros. And then we have also Tsitsipas versus Eubanks at Wimbledon. And this was a phenomenal match, part of a incredible run from Eubanks. Most winners of anybody at any Wimbledon event. Shout out Eubanks, he had a fantastic year. This was a great match and a great run at Wimbledon. Underrated match, I think one of the most underrated of the year. Jannik Sinner taking on Taylor Fritz at Indian Wells. Amazing ball striking from both guys. Both guys looked so determined. They both so much wanted this match. Jannik Sinner looking for a top 5 win over Taylor Fritz. Fritz looking to defend Indian Wells. Jannik Sinner played absolutely unbelievable. Each set was super close. It was super tight, intense, dramatic. It had everything you wanted out of a match that just really feels like so high level and so dramatic and epic. And both guys really brought their game. Fritz, who really maximizes in Indian Wells, and Jannik Sinner, who just stepped up a level this year. And it was a really, really good match and underrated. Djokovic taking on Sebastian Korda in Adelaide. Really wanted to include this match. It just missed the cut. But this was an amazing match right at the start of the year, where Djokovic did an incredible comeback. They both played incredibly great rallies. Sebastian Korda is such a clean hitter at the back of the court. And it just showed Djokovic, once again, at his mental strength best, which we saw pretty much all year. We started the year with Djokovic saving a championship point versus Sebastian Korda in Adelaide. We ended the year with Jannik Sinner saving 3 consecutive match points to save Italy in the Davis Cup before Italy would win the tournament and to beat Djokovic. So it's kind of a little bit of poetic there. This was a really good match, though. Not just the comeback, but also just all around. And I love that it was a Djoko smash to save championship point as well. Alcaraz Medvedev, US Open, it's not there for me. For me, like I said in the first Anthony's Tennis Hub podcast, it is my performance of the year, standout performance, because it really is that head that really favors Alcaraz at the US Open, reigning, defending Wimbledon and US Open champion. It was unbelievable level from Medvedev to be able to beat Alcaraz like that, even if he didn't dominate. And listen, these two guys who are the definition of a clash of styles, a term I use probably too much, but this is really that. It's aggression versus defense at its most creative, inventive, talent-filled best. And it is ice versus fire. It is the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, the wall being Medvedev, of course. And this was a great match. Also, Alcaraz versus Evans at US Open was a lot of fun. Sinner Djokovic Davis Cup, just missed the cut. That was really good, but the first 2 sets were probably a little bit too one-sided. Still a fantastic match. And then we have 3 more here to rattle off before top 5. Rune Rublev in Monte Carlo. It was a straightforward second set, relatively. Some bad errors from Holger to let him back in. It was an easy smash into the net, a double fault to give the break. It was still an amazing comeback from Rublev with some drop shots, some lobs, some great defense. Showing a lot of variety, net play, everything that you wanted. It was mostly an amazing comeback from Rublev when he looked down and out to win his first Masters, incredible fashion, and it was a really very good match. There are so many good Rune matches as well as this year, such as Rune Rublev Australian Open, as I mentioned before, Rune Fokina at Monte Carlo, just so many good matches all year. So this is my top 10, but there are just so many good matches. Molchan Dimitrov at Wimbledon, incredibly underrated. For me, 2 of the most talented players on the tour, even though Alex Molchan is very inconsistent a lot of the time. But this was the best I'd ever seen Alex Molchan play. And Dimitrov still saved 3 match points in a 5th set tiebreaker. I believe 12-10 or 11-9, the 5th set tiebreak, including with an incredible miracle half volley drop shot. If this, I'd perfectly understand if this match was high on a top 10 list for somebody. This just missed the cut for me. If this was a final or a semifinal, it would be top 3, probably. Hurkacz versus Kokkinakis in Miami. This match was unreal. This was part of an amazing day of play in Miami, where there was tiebreaker after tiebreaker after tiebreaker. I tell you what, there's another amazing match that day, Tiafoe versus Watanuki, who's also a very talented player. All day there were incredible tiebreakers. This match was 3 tiebreakers. Every single tiebreaker was extended. There were 268 different points played throughout this match. That's the most I've ever seen for a best-of-3 match. Medvedev versus Zverev Indian Wells this year played 255. Alcaraz Djokovic played 261. I believe Djokovic versus Nadal in Madrid, that really long match they played in 2009, played 245. This 268, and it was really good level from both. Kokkinakis is part of so many epics this year for some reason. Also against Wawrinka at Roland Garros as well, not to mention a very obvious one at the Australian Open. But the most amazing part about this match, this was number 11 by the way, the most amazing part about this match is that Hurkacz saves, I believe, 5 match points, including 1 down 6-4 in the 3rd set tiebreaker, where Kokkinakis hits a huge serve, absolutely massive, and Hurkacz steps in and hits a backhand clean winner, return winner down the line. He had won this event 2 years ago. He seems to always play great in Miami, and he just wasn't going out in the first round. Saves match points in epic fashion. That is an honorable mention, and really it's my number 11 spot. Okay, now on to the top 5. On to the top 5. So I've got Djokovic versus Rublev in Paris. And this match is underrated. If this isn't in your top 10 list, you are absolutely missing out. Because it goes back to what I said earlier at the Sinner versus Djokovic ATP Finals match. It goes back to that. This match was while Djokovic was on this incredible win streak. It looked like he was never going to lose. But this was the most he was tested. It really looked scary for Novak, because Rublev played the greatest match, in my opinion, I've ever seen him play. And he lost it. He played the absolute match of his life. So many winners throughout this match from Andre. Best I've ever seen him play. In fact, if you want to know how well Rublev played, and still he lost to Novak Djokovic, 2023 version of Novak, it is recorded by the ATP website. He hit 51 winners to 13 errors. He made 70% of first serves in. He won 73% of those points. Even Novak said he never saw Rublev play like this. It was top 3 level tennis from Rublev, no doubt about it. And what it reminded me of, if I may say so myself, was Verdasco taking on Nadal in 2009 Australian Open. And I don't want to use that match in vain because I think that is one of the greatest matches ever played in the sport. I really do think so, that semifinal in 2009 Australian Open. But what I will say is that this was the 3-set match. It couldn't be like that, but it ended on a double fault from Rublev. And Rublev absolutely maximized and played the greatest match of his life, but still lost to Djokovic in 2023. The big three still dominating over these guys who play unbelievable performances. And there are so many crazy moments throughout this match that were just, it was really topsy-turvy. In the second set, Andre led 4-5. It was 30-15. Andre was 3 points away from winning it. In the second set tiebreaker at 3-2, they play an insanely long rally. Novak wins it. He storms ahead in the match. He also hits one of the greatest return of serves I've ever seen Novak hit, and that really stuck out into my mind even until the end of this match. Djokovic just does the impossible. People thought Rublev was just going to give up the third set. I didn't think so. And there's proof of that. When I commentated this match for Quality Shot Tennis, it was one of the biggest streams that I did. And I said in that match, I don't think Rublev's giving up easy. He's played too well to this point. Rublev doesn't give up like that. Not when he has a chance like this in a head-to-head which is so notoriously against him. Djokovic, the head-to-head is so notoriously against Rublev. And it goes to 5-5. Rublev gets so close, but just can't quite do it. 7-5 for Novak. Extraordinary level from that match. This match was so good. This match was so good. It was so fun to watch. Two players playing this well, and I wish that this was on more top 10 lists, because if you're just talking about pure level, pure excitement, pure drama, and at the heart of Novak's incredible win streak at the end of the year, this is the match. This is the match. It's not against Greek Sport. It's not at Paris. It's not against Runa in Turin. It's this. This is at the heart of Novak's win streak because Rublev pushed him as hard as any other player could have pushed Novak. But Novak still reigned supreme. And will Rublev ever beat Novak? That is the question now. He couldn't do it in this match, but absolutely extraordinary match. That is at number 5, which just shows how good this year was. Number 4 is Jannik Sinner taking on Medvedev in Vienna. Another really just such a high-level match. Really high level. Sinner hit 36 winners, 22 errors. Medvedev, 28 winners, which is a lot for Medvedev. This match was brutality. It was hard-hitting from both in an indoors final. They played each other so many times this year. They played for the 5th time in their 4th final of the year. And they had just played in Beijing as well. Sinner wins the first set, winning his 3rd straight tiebreaker against Medvedev, which is unbelievable. And to do it in finals as well. When Medvedev is a superior server to Sinner, even at this point. Medvedev even said Sinner's improved on his serve, but Medvedev is a superior server. That really gives you the edge in tiebreakers, of course. You can rely on your serve much more, the consistency with your serve, which Medvedev is definitely more consistent than Sinner. But he wins 3 straight tiebreakers. Medvedev was even up a break early, and Sinner broke back, then won a tight 9-7 tiebreaker in the first set. This was intense, it was dramatic, and the level was one of the highest level matches of the whole year. I wish I could have put this match higher. The problem is the top 3 matches might as well be all-time great matches ahead of this one, but this match was one of the best of 3-set matches, at least one of the highest level. Best of 3-set matches you could see. And Sinner, the aggression too much for the walls of Medvedev behind the court. And this rivalry is so good this year. Second set was the lowest quality. There's a horrible smash from Sinner into the net to give Medvedev a break, and then a double fault from Medvedev to give the break back. It looked like it was Medvedev's to lose, but the first and third set in their own rights were incredible. The draw, even in that set, the drama was still very compelling. Sinner survived an amazing long rally, lung-busting rally at deuce, and then Sinner hits a winner service at championship point to win his 10th title. Statement win from Sinner, one of his most impressive, this Vienna final. I mean, these top 5 matches are all just unbelievably good matches. Spot number 3, Andy Murray taking on Thanasi Kokkinakis at the Australian Open. This match was an epic of epic proportions, by far the longest match of Andy Murray's career at 5 hours and 45 minutes, past 3 a.m. Australia time into the morning. I woke up and I couldn't believe there was still a match going on from the Australian Open. And it was still going on for about an hour after I woke up. And I saw the end of this one. Amazing level from both. It only got better at the 5th set as well from both players, but it was great throughout. And an amazing comeback from Andy Murray after what was already a great comeback versus Matteo Berrettini in the first round, where he saved a match point versus Berrettini as well there. But this comeback was different. He was down 2 sets to love, 5-2 for Thanasi Kokkinakis. And this fight that Murray showed over a Kokkinakis who hit 102 winners, over a Kokkinakis, a Thanasi Kokkinakis who hit 37 aces, over a Thanasi Kokkinakis who won 71% of first serve points, hit 70% of first serves in, saved 29% of his break points. I mean, this was a Thanasi Kokkinakis that was really at the top. It was 196 points for Murray, 192 one for Kokkinakis. It was 4-6, 6-7, 7-6, 6-3, 7-5. Kokkinakis was a game away. He was a tiebreaker away from taking this in 3 straight sets. Andy Murray says no, an elongated scream at the end of this match that really was defined by a point early in the 3rd set at 2-0 that had echoes of Jimmy Connors where he's defending smash after smash after smash from the back of the court. And he's defending, putting up lobs. Kokkinakis, show me what you've got. Thanasi Kokkinakis, who sometimes people think should be doing even better than he does and going over the line. Kokkinakis trying to do it for the Australian crowd as well, cheering him on. There's oohs and ahs as Murray keeps returning these overheads. And Murray with the metal hip, he was supposed to be retired at the Australian Open 4 years ago. And he's playing with the metal hip. He's 35. And yet, he's still returning overhead after overhead after overhead from the back of the court. And he says, show me what you got. Most of them are backhands that he's putting up. Then it's a forehand. Kokkinakis thinks he can hit a smash. Nope, has to let it bounce. And then it's a forehand into the net. Racket smash from Kokkinakis. Andy Murray with my favorite tennis reaction ever, which is, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. To the crowd saying, come on, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. The crowd going absolutely insane. Silence in Andy Murray's head. I can't hear you, because it should be even louder. It should be even louder what I'm doing out here and how I'm still fighting. People said I should be retired. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet for Murray. He says no. And it is such a good sign of age defiance, high level from both. I mean, I told you Kokkinakis' stats, which is a ridiculous name to keep saying over and over again. But 66% of first serves in for Murray, 72% first serve points won. He hit 69 winners to 43 errors. Really great performance for Murray. And I know he lost in the 3rd round, but these first 2 matches of the Australian Open were incredible. Defined what was an amazing start of the season for Murray, where he kept winning long match after long match after long match. Like at Doha, where he saved match points versus Zverev and Yuri Lehechka. Lehechka, I believe he was down 3 consecutive match points before playing a really high-level final against Medvedev in the final there. And this was a amazing, defining win for Murray, and I'm hoping we see a lot more of him. And I've been a fan for a long time. Listen, it was a great moment for me to get a Murray retweet because I'm just a fan, and this was an incredible match. It's at the number 3 spot. I can't believe this isn't number 1. I can't believe this isn't at least number 2. But the 2 matches above it are from the same rivalry, and they are amazing, but I'll tell you which one I put number 2 and which one I put number 1. Number 2 is Djokovic versus Alcaraz in Cincinnati. This match is absolute chaos. It is an all-time great match. One of the greatest sets of tennis ever played in the third set, and it's an amazing match, whoever plays it. At any round, the fact that it's a final, the fact that it's a final of a big tournament, the fact that it's a direct rematch from an amazing match at Wimbledon, the fact that it is not just number 1 versus number 2, but it is Carlos Alcaraz versus Novak Djokovic. Carlos Alcaraz, potentially one of the best players of the next 15 years, potentially an all-time great if he keeps up on this trajectory. Djokovic, an all-time great of the last 20 years. And we know who he is. A lot of people consider him the greatest of all time. It is a match of epic proportions, and it is chaos. 4-2 for Djokovic in the first sets. Carlos Alcaraz comes back. 6-5 for Alcaraz serving. He's down 15-30. He wins the first set 7-5. Then Alcaraz is kind of storming to a lead at 4-2 in the second set. Djokovic seems a little bit physically spending out of it. Djokovic is suffering from heat stroke, especially once it gets to the second set tiebreaker. But we'll get to that in a second, because Alcaraz plays a pretty poor game at 4-2. Djokovic comes back to it, and then it's a tiebreaker where Alcaraz has a championship point. He has a championship point. Alcaraz at championship point. He just beat Djokovic at Wimbledon in a big, big final. Alcaraz is the guy to beat at the moment. Coming into Wimbledon, after Wimbledon, Alcaraz 47-4 on the season. He is the guy to beat in the moment. This is the first time they play on hard courts. Alcaraz 6-0 in finals of big tournaments, 4-0 in Masters finals, 2-0 in Grand Slam finals. Alcaraz at championship points, steps to the line, Djokovic with a big service, then a winner, and into the opposite corner. And then it's 6-6. And then Djokovic plays a lung-busting rally to win 9-7. It looked like there's no way Djokovic was going to win this set. Especially when he's on the side, it looks like he's sweating. It looks like suffering from heat stroke. Don't count Djokovic out. Did we forget who's on the court? We know the fight of Alcaraz now. Don't forget Djokovic and his fight. And then everybody was going insane. Like, we're going to get a third set. This is unbelievable. This is what we wanted, an epic. Djokovic trying to tie up their head-to-head 2-2. Their first match on hard courts, and then the third set. Not only did we hype it up to the utmost extent it probably could have been hyped up to, it was arguably one of the greatest sets played in tennis history, topsy-turvy, chaotic. Out 5-3, 5-4, and 5-5 games, all three of the best games of the whole tennis season. At 5-3, Alcaraz with one of the most memorable match point saves you'll ever see, up there with Federer's backhand down the line against Nadal at Wimbledon. It is really so memorable. And it's not a Grand Slam final, but Djokovic said afterward, guess what? This was more than a Grand Slam final. This is more. It's really cool that we get to see these two players like really just go at it in a rivalry that might not even play 10 matches. If they don't, then not only is this an incredibly unique moment in tennis, this is also a rivalry that would be, by miles and miles and miles, the greatest rivalry to never play 10 times. And it was an amazing match in Madrid. It was an incredible first couple sets in Roland Garros. I think the best 2 sets of the year in tennis was number 2, Roland Garros, set number 2. That set was so incredibly high level, and it's part of the reason Alcaraz started cramping. It took so much out of Alcaraz to even win that set. One of the greatest shots of all time in that set as well, at least of the year. And which is the passing shot that Alcaraz hit running backwards. That set was incredible. Number 1, Cincinnati, set number 3, which I think very few would argue. But the best match of the year for me, which I will get to in a second, was Alcaraz versus Djokovic at Wimbledon. And I'll tell you what, part of the reason that is, why do I put the Wimbledon match above it? Well, it helps that it's a Grand Slam final. It helps to me that it's best out of 5 sets, even though that Djokovic-Alcaraz match was maybe the greatest best of 3 set match of all time. and it was probably just as good as any best of 5 set match. Pretty much, it maximized the most out of a best of 3 set match, but the level was slightly higher throughout the match from both in the Wimbledon final. And part of that, for example, a stat I can throw to you, Djokovic in the Cincinnati final made 57% of first serves in. He hit 28 winners, 30 unforced errors. Until 4-2 in the second set, people were saying this is a bit of a disappointing performance and match from the side of Djokovic. It really looks like Alcaraz is storming to a lead here. And then Alcaraz played a poor game as well at 4-3 to kind of give it back. And until the third set, for the most part, incredibly high level. From both, unbelievable. But the Wimbledon final, even the first 6-1 set, amazing, where almost every game, if not every game, went to deuce. I think every single game but one, if I remember correctly, went to deuce in that first 6-1 set. That Wimbledon match was incredible from both, from first set to last. And it was a match that was an anomaly. For the last era of tennis, we've been waiting. We've been waiting for the kid who's mentally strong and stands up to one of the big 3 in a Grand Slam final where the other guy is playing his best. And there's nothing you can say. Because Djokovic at Wimbledon is Djokovic at Wimbledon. He hadn't lost in 10 straight years on center court. Alcaraz, not that much experience on grass courts. Alcaraz took the match. It wasn't Djokovic who gave it to him. It wasn't Djokovic who gave it to him. The stats in the last set were pitch perfect from Alcaraz all the way through. In the last game, he made some ballsy moves. In the first point of the last game, he missed a drop shot, lost the point in a drop shot. The very next point, he hits a drop shot and lob combination. And he wins the point. And then he comes to net on another point. Djokovic hits an incredible pass, as we're used to him doing in big moments. Alcaraz, miracle, stick save volley winner. Stick save volley winner, big serve from Alcaraz. Inside out, and then a big forehand, cross court. He's not missing this moment. Becomes the first player born after 1987 to win a Grand Slam tournament outside of New York. Outside of New York. And he's born in 2003. He's the youngest player outside of Djokovic to win a Grand Slam outside of the US Open. He is the only man not named Stanislas Wawrinka, Andy Murray, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, or Roger Federer to win a Grand Slam outside of the US Open since 2005 Australian Open when Safin did it. Since Nadal won his first major, it's only been those 5 guys that have won Australian Open, Roland Garros, or Wimbledon. Only 5 guys since Nadal started winning majors. Alcaraz, the Spaniard, becomes the next. And he breaks the cycle. Wide open with his incredible game that really suits grass courts. He's a fast learner, 20 years old, beats Djokovic, takes it from Djokovic. And there were so many incredible moments all sprinkled throughout this match. Even in the third set, which was also 6-1, you had a 30-minute long game with never-ending deuces that was so high level that really broke Djokovic. Then you had Djokovic in the fourth set coming back and winning that set. And then you had Alcaraz stepping up the way he did. You had a miss-swinging volley into the net. It was a huge moment in that match. It was a huge moment for Djokovic. And he also missed a couple backhands in the second set tiebreaker. It definitely wasn't squeaky clean. Djokovic's serve, he wasn't making a whole lot of first serves in. It wasn't squeaky clean, especially from the side of Djokovic. Alcaraz in the first set as well, but for the most part, it was incredibly high level from both, with some extremely good moments. Alcaraz stepping up in a tiebreaker, ending a million streaks. If Alcaraz didn't do what Alcaraz did at Wimbledon, who knows if Sinner would have done what he did at Turin and in the Davis Cup. This was a huge win for the rest of the tour, despite Djokovic still dominating at the moment. This was a huge win for Alcaraz, and what an extraordinary match it was, full of such good shot making from both. And you just had to take it in. And everything I said in Cincinnati about the Cincinnati match, of this being the GOAT versus the youngster, you have to take in this match, a Grand Slam final, and it stood up to it. The storylines were just beautifully written. as if it was written like by a scriptwriter. It was Alcaraz losing to Djokovic on clay at Roland Garros, but beating Djokovic just a few weeks later at Wimbledon on grass courts in his 4th grass court tournament. And Alcaraz now has the highest win percentage, I believe, in the first 20 grass court matches played of any player ever. He is a fast learner. He's great on all 3 surfaces. I'm going to be really compelled by which surface Alcaraz ends up having at his best. Is it going to be clay court? Is it going to be hard court where he won his first major, his first Masters? Is it going to be grass? Is he going to be the next grass guy? It seems like clay court is a high chance. We'll see if he can step it up at Roland Garros. But yeah, those were my top 10 matches all the way down. This list was so hard to put together, but I mean, from Rublev, Djokovic, Paris to Sinner, Medvedev, Vienna, and the Murray, Kokkinakis, and the 2 Alcaraz, Djokovic matches. These matches are matches that you won't just remember for this year. You'll remember them, period. Those are matches I won't forget. This defined 2023 for the women's side and the men's side. Lots of classics. You want good rivalries in tennis. They push the best tennis out of each other. It really attracts fans in, and I hope that continues in 2024. I think we're going to have an amazing year in 2024. I'm beyond excited. Olympics next year as well. So many good storylines going in. It looks like Djokovic is going to dominate, but listen, the 3 other seasons where he's won 3 out of the 4 majors, 2 of them he only wins 1 major the year after, and the other year was 2016, where he only won 1 title in the last 7 months of the year, and his kind of reign at the top kind of ended. So all 3 years were not his most successful years, the year following the year he wins 3 out of 4 majors. So we'll see if Djokovic can step it up after an insane year. It's clear that it's still up to Djokovic. He's still at the top of the game, but with players like Sinner, Djokovic, with Sinner, Alcaraz, Medvedev, then you have a consistent guy like Rublev. You have guys in the top 10 you're not quite sure about. Tsitsipas, you have Fritz, how are they going to do? Runa, and then you have Ruud. You have guys outside like, how's OJ Aliassime going to do? How's Hurkacz going to do? A guy like Hugo Humbert, how's Dimitrov going to do? You never know. Things could switch around there because some of those guys weren't that consistent at the bottom of the top 10. So I'm very excited for 2024. 2023 was a doozy. I'm going to keep coming out with this podcast and more videos. I'm hoping to do more like topical videos about stuff in the news and stuff I'm interested in about in general. I think that'll be really good content for the channel, I hope. But I'll be coming out with more of this podcast and more Tennis 360 podcast, Quality Shot Tennis as well, more live streams. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to Anthony's Tennis Hub podcast if you enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun for me to do. And don't forget to like the video as well if you enjoyed it. This was my top 10 matches of the year, and I will see you guys at the next one.